Hello everyone, this is CJ Novo 992 and today we're back from the brand new video. Today's video we are finally here to talk about the biggest and best derby in world football, and that is of course Rangers versus Celtic. It's Old Firm weekend, and despite everything we've spoken about already today and knowing and addressing the fact that it doesn't quite feel the same as an Old Firm weekend should be with the buzz and the excitement and all that, it's still here, ladies and gentlemen, and there's a video to do and there's a preview to do. So without any further ado, let's jump into it. And before we go any further on with today's video, in case you missed the previous video that I uploaded earlier and you're wondering why I'm not coming out here and I'm not speaking about the Camaro, why I'm not standing or saying that I'm standing with that man, of course I am. You know me now, we've been through a lot together. I've made that video and I will leave a link in the description below if you want to talk about that incident. But again, in this one we're going to be focusing on the football, and we're going to be focusing in on the Old Firm, which is tomorrow. So without any further ado, let's jump in as always to the old oppositional preview and start off with the Celtic team, who are currently sitting second, 20 points behind. And not only is that very nice to say, and it does put a smile on this face, but that fact right there drastically changes this upcoming Old Firm game, because all that arrogance and all that swagger that Celtic used to have, knowing that they were going to go ahead and lift that league title, has been ripped away from them by this record-breaking title winning Rangers side. That arrogance, that swagger has been ripped for them, leaving them with nothing but their own disappointment and shark barriers in what was by many considered Celtic's biggest season. And I just can't help but think that this game is going to be even more of a psychological battle than ever before, because this is the first time in a long time that this Celtic team is going to be playing the champions of Scotland, Rangers. It's the first time in a while that's actually happened. There's well and truly been a changing of the guard, and the hunted has now become the hunter. And if you go ahead and you look at Celtic's season so far, they've not been able to handle that mentality shift. I mean, you just need to look at the last 5 games as a perfect example of them not being able to keep up that hunter mentality. Yes, the season was gone. Yes, we were miles in front, but still, you keep fighting until the fighting is done, and that's what I'm sure a lot of the Celtic fans would have been wanting to see for their squad. But I mean, just look at the last 5 games as an example. They've got 3 wins out of those 5, right? Which isn't bad if you aren't an Old Firm side. But if you look at it, they also go beat 1-0 of Ross County, and in the do-or-die game versus Dundee United, in which they had to win just to stop Rangers from being crowned champions that weekend. All they had to do was go out there and do their job. They couldn't do it. They couldn't even muster a goal versus Dundee United, and that fantastic weekend was what it was, and Rangers were crowned champions. Which right there is absolutely beautiful to say, and it does make me happy being able to say that we are the champions. But it is important to remember that's the last time Celtic kicked a fit ball. Since then, we've went ahead and played 2 very difficult games versus Slavia Prague. Despicable incident to one side that of course is going to be affecting our squad coming into this game. On the actual park, in terms of football sense, we weren't good enough over the 2 legs, and we were deservedly put out. So we've had a tough week. Celtics had their feet up with only one thing in mind, and that's playing us, because the only hope and only joy that they've got left in this season is to beat us. So despite me still sitting here saying that I still believe that Rangers side is the best team in the country, and I think you've got plenty of evidence to back up that argument, this Celtic team, again, has had plenty of time. They are motivated for this game because that's all they have left. And despite us joking and everything like that, they are still the second best team in this country and are still a very dangerous side. And now I know this point is a bit redundant now because it's not even really getting spoken about. No one cares about it, given there's actually a serious thing to talk about. But my thoughts and opinions on Celtic confirming they won't be giving Rangers a guard of honour, I genuinely couldn't care less, and I mean that with every fibre of my being. For us, against Scottish football, we've still got derbies, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, teams might do it down south and they might do it there and there and there, but for me, that's nonsense. We've got one of the few true derbies left in the world of football, and that's sad to say. Just look at down south and watch some of their derbies where they're all cuddling each other and everything like that, laughing and joking before the game. There's no bite, there's no intensity. I'm happy enough with Celtic refusing to give us a guard of honour. We didn't need them to give us a guard of honour to be champions. We are the champions for a reason, and I just hope after the full-time whistles goes, these players all have a reason to celebrate and smile on that part. And I think with that being said, that's just kind of reached the end of the old oppositional preview. Yes, the Celtic team that we face will be under a different manager, as Neil Lennon was officially resigned on the 55th day of the year, by the way. Thank you so much, Neil. Thank you for that. Staunch for you, son. But honestly, regarding a footballing perspective, I can't see too many differences that's worth sitting and breaking down for a couple of minutes in how John Kennedy's Celtic team plays to Neil Lennon's. It feels like they're in a transition now when they're waiting for an actual manager to come in and manage them and change them around and inject the style that they want. So they're kind of on the same route. Obviously, James Forrest is now back now, so they might have more threat going down either wing, but again, it's still pretty much the exact same. The only question is going to be for Celtic, do they stick with the two up top, what was very dangerous versus us in January, or did they revert back to what they've been kind of doing recently under Kennedy, and that's playing a kind of 4-2-3-1 with Edouard leading the line. It's going to be interesting to see how they line up, but again, there's nothing too much to break down and discuss. It's still the same Celtic side that we've played a couple of times this season. But despite me saying that this Celtic side is still the same Celtic side that we've bet all season long, that doesn't diminish the fact that this is still an Old Firm game. The more this is still the best derby in the world, and I know it doesn't quite feel like that right now, and it doesn't feel the normal-esque weekend that we have coming into this game versus Celtic, given everything that's actually happened. But as closer and closer we get to the first whistle gone versus Celtic, we know the heart's going to be gone, we know the blood's going to be pumping, and we know the battle fever will well and truly take over, because there's nothing like an Old Firm game, and the second that whistle goes, it's all going to come down to who wants it more in there, ladies and gentlemen. Form, everything you want goes out the window the second that whistle goes, and we know we'll have our own reasons and our own motivations, which we'll speak about very shortly in today's video. But as we've already said, Celtic are motivated coming into this game as well. Despite the league being over, they have pretty much the last chance to put any soft smile on the fans, on the faces of the fans, and that's to beat us. I mean, if I'm just being brutally honest with you, this game, the Mora, isn't even the biggest game of our week. But for the Celtic fans and the Celtic perspective, this is now their biggest game of the season. And that right there actually gives me the perfect transition into the Rangers side of today's video, because as I just said there, this isn't the biggest game of our week. The biggest game was against Slavia Prague, with the opportunity to go through to the next round and go deeper into a European competition. But unfortunately, we lost that game 2-0 on Thursday night, and I've absolutely no problem admitting over the two legs Slavia Prague, in terms of football, were the better side. It's the other thing that I've got a real issue with, but I've already explained that in today's video. We've already saw Glenn Kamara crying into the arms of Steven Gerrard, and if you saw this week's press conference featuring Connor Goulton ahead of this game versus Celtic, you saw that big man trembling with his words, barely being able to answer a question because he was that devastated and still hurt for the day before. And honestly, it's naive to think that in some way that pathetic, shocking incident that should never have happened will affect this game in some way. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that any positivity could ever come from the evil that actually happened in that incident, and that's not what I'm saying at all. Please don't try and twist my words and make it that I'm saying that. All I'm saying is I've got hope, right, that this tight-knit group that we have in that Rangers dressing room, the family atmosphere that we've heard now, we've heard countless players say he's like my brother, he's like my uncle for Jermaine Defoe, the family atmosphere that we have in that dressing room, I hope that that incident there brings them even closer, and they're able to channel that evil in the right way, and they can take their frustrations, their sadness and anger and channel it in the right way on Sunday night and go out there and put a performance that every single one of them in that dressing room can be proud of. That is my only hope, ladies and gentlemen, that they can channel everything that they're feeling right now in the right way and in a positive way, and they can all go out there and make themselves proud. And you know, with what we mentioned earlier on in today's video, with the psychological differences for Celtic coming into this game now playing against Rangers, the champions, I also think it's interesting from a Rangers perspective now that they are the champions, because for so long we were the hunter, and I think if you look over the last couple of Old Firm games, you've been able to see that we've wanted to close that gap and we've wanted to prove that we were better, and that's why we got the results that we did. Yes, the January game we won at our best in that game, but still, we still won the gamey football and you look at the last two Parkhead performances, we've just went after them to prove a point. And that for me is going to be an interesting aspect and an interesting battle in this game. How do we handle now being the champions? I certainly hope we come into this game with the exact same mindset, the aggressive nature, not giving them time, and still with that point to prove mentality, because that's been proved to being able to beat them continually over the last couple of games, and I'm hoping we still have that main mindset coming into this game tomorrow. But before we go ahead and wrap up today's video and get to the old predictions, we do have the latest Rangers team news, and first of all, shout out to our boy Stephen Davis. He's just signed an official contract extension, another year extension, and by God, does that man deserve it. I'll be honest with you, I saw him at Parks last season and I did think he was on his way out the door, but by God, I've been proved once again to not know anything, ladies and gentlemen, because he's been phenomenal. He deserves the extension, and now that that's out the way, I can't wait to see Alan McGregor's extension. I can't wait to see Connor Goldson. I can't wait to see Taverniers, and I can't wait to see Glenn Kamara's, who again are all running out of time on their deals. That's one down. I can't wait for the Fantastic Four. Regarding the actual team news for the game, it does again look like an if or maybe scenario for Ryan Jack, as he is again a doubt for the game of football. My fingers crossed that he somehow gets involved, because I just think doing that right hand side, we need that defensive awareness. I think it was shown on Thursday and the last two Thursday nights, but again, it doesn't look like it's going to be quite time for Ryan Jack to be in there. And speaking of the right hand side, we also have the question of Nathan Patterson, who is a doubt for the game because of a kick that he got versus Slavia Prague that did obviously have him coming off the park. So he's a doubt, and if he isn't available, that only leaves Balogun to play at that right back spot, as unfortunately Tavernier isn't fit enough for the game just yet, and it's came just too soon. But that is the latest team news. Everyone else is fully ready to go. Kamaru's obviously served his 2-game suspensions when he was injured. He's available for selection. Everyone is good to go. It's going to be a massive starting 11. It's going to be a massive game of football. And with that being said, that is everything that we need to talk about in today's video. That's our thoughts and opinions on some things that I didn't want to be sitting here speaking about, ladies and gentlemen, but I wouldn't be who I thought I am, and I didn't think it'd be fair to the channel and what we've built if we didn't highlight these issues and back our players, and that's why I wanted to do that. But we've also spoken in the oppositional preview, and we've obviously spoken about the latest team news and a couple of Rangers things ahead of this game as well. Now that everything's been said, all that's left for me and thee today is go ahead and give our predictions for the game of football. So dive into the comment section and share your opinions below. For me, I do think it's going to be back and forth. I do think again Celtic will have that energy that they had in the January game, but again, I'm just going to back my team. I'm always going to do that, and I just think they're going to channel the aggression and everything that they're feeling right now, and I'm hoping they're channeling it in the right way, but I do think they will, because I love this Rangers team. So I'm actually going to go out there and go with a scoreline of Rangers 1, Celtic 0. I did have 2-1 in my head all afternoon, but that feels like a bit of a cursed scoreline right now, so I'm not going to pick it. My goal scorer, my one and only goal scorer to separate the game, I'm going for it, baby. I'm going for Morelos. But with that being said, that's us reached the end of today's video. If you got involved down there in the comment section below, I will be speaking to you very, very shortly. Hopefully we all enjoy the Old Firm game, and I'll see you after it. Hopefully with a massive smile on this Nasher. Take care of yourselves, everyone. All the best, and bye.